It's the biggest question we all have, right? What happens after we die? Well, what if I told you that for some people, the answer calls them? Yeah, we're about to dive into one of the weirdest, most chilling mysteries out there. It's a story where our own technology, our deepest grief, and something else all collide.
Okay, just picture this for a second. It's the middle of the night, your phone rings, and that screen just lights up the whole dark room. You don't recognize the number, but you answer anyway. And through this crackle of static, you hear a voice you know better than your own. She says she loves you, tells you not to worry, and just like that, dead air.
Look, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like something you'd tell around a campfire, right? But this is different. This isn't just a ghost story. For more than 60 years, actual researchers, even phone company engineers, have been investigating this stuff. We're talking about real case files, real documented events.
All right, section 1, a pattern in the static. So, what have all these investigators actually found? Let's treat this thing like a detective story, a real cold case, because honestly, that's what it feels like. We're going to hunt for clues and patterns in something that, by all logic, just shouldn't be happening. So there's actually a name for this. Researchers call it after-death communication, or ADC for short. Now that can mean a lot of things, like seeing something or just having a strong feeling. But the phone calls, that's a whole different level. It's specific, it's unsettling, and it's the one that leaves behind a very interesting kind of evidence.
And get this isn't some new age internet thing. We're going way back. In 1920, the one and only Thomas Edison was apparently trying to build a spirit phone. No joke. But the real wave of these documented phantom calls started hitting in the 1960s. And the phenomenon has been evolving right alongside our tech ever since, from old rotary phones all the way to the voicemails on the very phone you're probably holding.
Okay, this is where it gets really weird. The details of these calls from all over the world are bizarrely consistent. It's like they all have the same fingerprints. The line sounds hollow, like talking through a tunnel. The message is almost always short, simple, and comforting. And then, click, it's gone. But here's the kicker. A lot of the time, the person getting the call has no idea that the person on the other end is already dead. So one of the first guys to really take this seriously was a researcher named D. Scott Rogo. And he wasn't some true believer either. He was a skeptic, he wanted logical answers. But the more cases he studied, the more he was floored by what he called a disturbing internal consistency. He couldn't ignore the pattern. He knew something very real was going on here. And right here, the story takes an incredibly dark twist. In 1990, D. Scott Rogo, the one person who knew more about this phenomenon than maybe anyone else alive, was murdered. It happened in his home, and to this day, the crime is still unsolved. It's just this whole other layer of mystery wrapped around his already mysterious work. All right, section 2. Grief, glitches, or ghosts. So what could actually explain these calls? Let's look at the 3 main suspects in this case, and we'll profile each one. Okay, suspect number 1 is grief. And this makes sense, right? The idea that our own minds, when we're desperate for one last word, can create an incredibly powerful hallucination. It's like a phantom limb, but for the heart. Then you have suspect number 2, glitches. The phone system is a massively complex thing. Maybe it's just a random bug, a cross line, an old bit of data that gets replayed, a literal ghost in the machine. And then there's suspect number 3, genuine contact. This is the big one, the one that challenges pretty much everything we understand about life and death. It's the idea that somehow people are actually finding a way to use the technology we built to send a message back. Now, those first 2 explanations, grief and glitches, they sound pretty plausible. But they both smash headfirst into one huge problem. A hallucination happens in your head. A glitch is just a temporary error. Neither one should be able to leave a voicemail, right? So how do we explain the cases where one actually does? Okay, our final section, the unanswered ring. This is where we get into the evidence that just doesn't fit. The kind of stuff that absolutely defies any easy explanation. Let's enter Exhibit A, the Ashley voicemail. A woman gets a 43-second voicemail. It's from her dad, who had been dead for 2 years. Check the details. It's timestamped at 3:17 a.m. But when she checks her phone, there's no record of any incoming call. Her friends all listen and confirm, yep, that's his voice. And an audio forensics team, they analyzed it and found absolutely no signs it was faked. And this is the absolute game changer. Think about it. A fleeting phone call, you could easily write that off as a dream, or maybe you just misheard something. But a digital recording, a voicemail, that is physical evidence. You can save it, you can play it for other people, you can analyze it. It's a piece of data that should not exist, and that fact completely changes the game. So whatever is actually going on here, what's the effect on people? Well, it's pretty incredible. A study out of Harvard, of all places, found that people who report these experiences actually have significantly better outcomes with their grief in the long run. Whether the calls are real or not, the study confirmed their healing power is undeniable. It helps people process loss in a much healthier way. And I think one researcher really nailed it when they said this. For the people who get these calls, it's not scary. It's a comfort. It's like they're being given permission. Permission to believe that death isn't just a hard stop. It offers a little bit of hope when they need it most.
So here we are. After decades of stories and research, we've got our suspects, and we've got evidence that seems impossible. The one thing we do know for sure, the calls haven't stopped. In fact, the phenomenon just seems to be adapting to whatever new tech we invent. So I'll leave you with this one last thought. The line is still open. If your phone rings in the dead of night, are you going to answer?